The Berlin Agreement was at last finalized. After 7 intense days of talks, I'd locked in the continental growth my supervisor had pursued for 3 years. My muscles throbbed from the 10-hour journey, yet exhilaration surged within me as I navigated my leased vehicle toward my folks' residential neighborhood. My luggage sat in the rear compartment. I'd assured Mother I'd visit prior to returning to my condo, aware she'd desire details of my journey and likely insist on serving me a fresh-baked treat. The descending sunlight bathed the well-known area in golden tones as I veered onto Oak Avenue. I eased into the entryway, observing Father had at last pruned the unruly shrubs bordering the storage area. Minor triumphs. My dark heels squeezed uncomfortably as I emerged, adjusting my gray tailored dress. The travel had creased my cotton top, but I maintained the appearance of the lead economic consultant who'd recently clinched a pivotal contract. I grinned, retrieving the storage opener from my bag. I'd kept my Mustang there during my absence, more secure than curbside spots at my housing unit. The accustomed snap when I activated it, the motorized hum as the panel rose. Then only vacant area where my automobile ought to stand. No, impossible. The phrases escaped as my gut sank. The storage extended ahead, desolate save for Father's grass cutter and Mother's planting tools. My digits grew cold. The opener fell onto the pavement as I abandoned my bag and hurried to the residence. This wasn't possible. Not my vehicle, not my Mustang. I stormed through the lateral entrance into the cooking space. They awaited me, Mother, Father, and my sibling Sophia positioned around the pine counter as if arranging a confrontation. The quiet struck initially, followed by the remorse emanating from them all. Father avoided my gaze. He focused on his rough palms laid open on the surface. "Elena, dear," Mother's tone held that honeyed note she employed for delivering harsh updates. "Stay calm. Where's my automobile?" The query rasped in my neck. Sophia squared her posture. Assurance displayed on her features like one of her beauty guides. "It's only short-term, Elle. I'll repay every bit." "Repay what exactly?" My tone fell ominously quiet. "Where is my Mustang?" Mother looked toward Father, who continued staring down. "We faced a hard choice, darling. Sophia required seed funding for her venture, and we brought it to Lakeside Loan." Father eventually uttered, his speech gravelly. "Received $50,000 for it." The space spun askew. "You did what to my vehicle?" "It's a borrow using the automobile, not an outright trade." Sophia interjected. "When my beauty brand debuts, I'll return it plus extra. You'll regain your ride soon enough." My thoughts raced to the countless evenings I devoted bent over reports at Riverside Investments. 80-hour stretches for 7 years without break. Declining trips, superior housing, all luxuries as I accumulated funds. I recalled grandfather's aged fingers directing mine across the motor of his buddy's Mustang at age 10. These contraptions aren't merely transport, Elena child. Their aspirations turned tangible. His gaze had wrinkled with total conviction. "One day you'll possess your own gem. Simply wait patiently." The afternoon I'd ultimately guided my Mustang to my place, moisture had flowed along my cheeks. Not solely for the shiny ebony finish or the thunder of the power plant, but for its symbolism. Evidence that my concessions held value. "My beauty enterprise is groundbreaking," Sophia continued, tossing her locks behind her back. "I've created a mixture that, it doesn't matter if you've invented eternal beauty in a jar." My words sliced her spiel. "That automobile wasn't yours to seize." Mother's mouth tightened. "Come now, Elena, kin supports kin. You earn ample salary from your position. Sophia deserves this opportunity to thrive. So you utilized my extra opener and my ownership papers." The disloyalty dug further with every insight. "You performed deceit." Father recoiled. "We're your guardians," Mother rebutted. "We've consistently backed both our daughters fairly." A sour chuckle slipped out. "Fairly? Is that your term for this?" My device vibrated in my pocket. I extracted it reflexively, checking the alert. My coverage provider notifying me of a claim filed on my transport. Chill supplanted the rage in my blood. This extended beyond funds. This surpassed even my prized automobile. This concerned dignity, which my kin had perpetually withheld from me. "You get 1 month," I declared, my speech firmer than my inner state. 1 month to retrieve my automobile, or I'll file complaints for deceit and robbery." "Complaints?" Mother inhaled sharply. "Versus your kin. Kin doesn't pilfer from one another." I pivoted to the exit. 1 month. Their stunned looks trailed me as I departed, closing the entrance with sufficient strength to shake the kin portraits on the partition. Portraits that abruptly appeared fabricated, grinning visages, concealing the reality that in this kin, my aspirations had invariably been deemed expendable. The lone shop stinks of hopelessness and inexpensive scent diffuser. I adjust my jacket, attempting to seem like a lady who fits here instead of one whose existence is crumbling. My image in a grimy showcase reveals eyeliner streaks I overlooked removing today. Miss Rivera, the lender Marcus, per his badge, pushes forms over the desk. His speech bears the rehearsed impartiality of a person who observes monetary disasters routinely. Your transport was delivered 6 days prior, borrow some $50,000, including our typical charges. I examine the papers, my economic expertise engaging instinctively. $4,000 in charges. That's almost exploitative. 6. Marcus's expression stays unmoved. Vintage auto sector's unstable, we assume hazards. And if the borrow isn't settled, following 40 days, we sell the transport publicly. He points to a section of tiny text. Complete settlement due by November 5th. $54,000 altogether. My abdomen knots as I turn the sheet. There it sits, my endorsement. But it's not authentic. The imitation is near enough to trick the loan shop, yet lacks the minor downward loop I invariably add on the last R. This isn't my endorsement. Marcus's demeanor alters faintly. Lady, if you're implying deceit, I'm not implying, I'm declaring. I produce my identification card, then a fresh employment agreement. Match them. He inspects the endorsements. Unease becoming evident. I'll have to consult my superior on this. Please proceed. And during that, retrieve the monitoring video from the deal occurrence. My speech appears more composed than my sensations. I was in Berlin, Germany. 25 minutes and one superior afterward, the truth solidifies like stone in my torso. My folks executed real deceit. Felony deceit. The type individuals serve time for. We could submit a law enforcement statement immediately, the superior suggests. The term law enforcement constricts my airway. I require moments to reflect. Returning to my condo, I slump onto the sofa, coat still on. On the low table rests a kin picture collection I haven't viewed in ages. I draw it to my knees, digits quivering mildly as I browse protected recollections. There's Sophia's lavish 18th, an outdoor gathering with 50 attendees, a hired cameraman, and a dessert larger than her height. I shift the leaf to discover zilch from my 18th celebration, since I'd held a temporary role at the plaza, hoarding for university submissions. I browse ahead. Sophia's secondary school commencement, where father leased a luxury sedan. My university commencement event, vacant seats where my folks ought to have sat. Their travel oddly postponed amid fine conditions. They'd attended Sophia's performance showcase the following afternoon. Holiday 2019 gazes at me, Sophia positioned next to a blue sedan with a massive ribbon, while I grasp a retail pullover to my torso, offering that strained grin that fails to touch my gaze. The trend spans decades, across achievements, across ambitions. Not merely faint bias but persistent concessions. My concessions to boost Sophia. My device sounds, jolting me. Uncle Victor's identifier illuminates the display. I recently learned, he states, omitting greeting. Your mother contacted, attempting to frame it favorably. And what framing is that? I inquire, abruptly weary. That you're exaggerating. That kin aids kin. His repulsed huff transmits via the line. This is wrong and you're aware. I am aware. Moisture threatens once more. I simply didn't anticipate they'd escalate this much. What will you do? I'm uncertain still. Following our disconnect, Aunt Margaret phones father's sibling, eternally the mediator. They merely aim to assist Sophia prosper. She implores. Samuel regrets deeply. Can't you summon some empathy? The entry bell rescues me from replying. It's Olivia from the office, carrying a sack from our preferred Asian eatery. I delivered supper, she announces, noting my swollen eyelids. You appear dreadful. I chuckle for the initial occasion in days. Appreciate the candor. Amid zesty rice, I reveal all. Her indignation acts as a salve, an individual at last perceiving the circumstance plainly. You're aware this is illegal, correct? She questions, topping my beverage. They swiped your automobile, I realize. If somebody else committed this. But it wasn't somebody else. I place my utensil. It was my kin. That renders it graver, not milder. Olivia's tone gentles. What does your supervisor state? That relatives can wound more profoundly than outsiders. I'd collapsed in his workspace earlier, an act I'd avoided for 7 years at Riverside. He's granting me room to manage it. The following daybreak, I message Sophia. Beverage. Midday, the spot close to your condo. Solely us. She's present upon my entry, donning shades amid the overcast weather. Her lively assurance from the cooking space clash has dissipated. Show me the enterprise outline, I state, settling in. Pardon, the enterprise outline. Monetary forecasts. Promotion approach. You understand the records any valid new venture would possess prior to pursuing capital. She toys with her mug. It's rather adaptable than that. Artistic endeavors. Halt, I raise my palm. Display what you possess. Genuine records. What she extracts from her satchel is a vision panel of cosmetic styles, a roster of possible item titles, and rough drawings of containers. No vendor agreements. No recipe details. No economic simulation. This is all. My tone sinks alarmingly quiet. This is why you took my automobile. Blame me. I simply required an opportunity to demonstrate my worth like you. Her bottom lip quivers. Everybody constantly discusses how accomplished you are, how dependable, how I ought to emulate you more. I gain my opportunity, I articulate, every term intentional. I didn't appropriate another's vision. Her posture sags. I believed after the venture succeeded, I could reimburse you with bonuses, render all pleased. And currently, the initial delivery came yesterday. She lifts her shades, exposing inflamed eyelids. Many of the jars were damaged. Buyers are grumbling digitally already. The blend divides after several hours. Her speech fractures, all is collapsing. My device alerts with a message. From Sophia. I glance at her, puzzled, then at my device. I require additional funds to mend this. Merely a bit more. Please, Alina, I'm frantic. She's observing me peruse it, her look beseeching. Not another cent, I declare. You repair this or we all suffer. Her features collapse. I lack the knowledge. For a perilous instant, I sense the familiar tug, the kin presumption that I'll resolve the chaos, correct the issue, remain the dependable one. Then I recollect my bare storage and the imitated endorsement. You'd best determine it swiftly, I state, rising. Time is running out. 10 days following the storage disclosure, Sophia's venture rests in tatters. I monitor her downfall while striving to concentrate on my profession, observing each catastrophic notification arrive on my device methodically. Day 4, providers declining additional deliveries post failed transactions. Day 6, reimbursement requests overwhelming her online profiles. Day 8, venture profile locked by the institution. Day 11, Sophia isolated in her condo, disregarding all contacts. I gaze at my monitor in my workspace at Riverside Investments, the Berlin procurement files fading in my vision. The pact I dedicated 7 months coordinating now dangles precariously, since I can't concentrate. My thoughts persistently return to the empty spot in the storage where my Mustang should reside. My workstation line sounds. It's my supervisor, Director Hayes. Alina, I need those concluding estimates by 5. His speech conveys that hint of worry that's intensified during the recent days. You seem drained. All well domestically. I compel a businesslike cheer into my speech. All is good. You'll receive those estimates shortly. The falsehood stings. Nothing is good. My kin deceived me. My siblings' venture is crumbling, and my profession could collapse if I can't separate better. When the weekend comes, I position my leased vehicle at the roadside beyond my folks' residence, rather than in the entryway. A tiny defiance, but it seems essential. The recognizable aroma of Stew Mother's reconciliation gesture drifts from the cooking area as I step in. Father rests at the counter, posture bowed beneath an unseen burden. Mother busies with the porcelain dishes, the fine set saved for festivals and emergencies. Sophia shows up delayed, her stylish eyewear concealing swollen eyelids, her bold gait substituted by something sluggish, diminished. Let's dine while warm, Mother declares, plating father initially as customary. We rest in hush interrupted solely by the scratch of utensils on dishes. I slice my protein into exact cubes, concentrating on the force of blade on plate to prevent yelling. Mother yields first. Sophia's encountering challenges with her venture. She taps Sophia's palm. All stumble occasionally. I lay my utensil. This isn't regarding stumbling, it's regarding pilfering. We believed we were assisting, father murmurs softly, the initial phrases he's voiced since I came. His aged palms quiver mildly as he grasps his beverage cup. We desired Sophia to gain her shot. At my cost, the phrases emerge harsher than planned, cutting the facade. You didn't merely seize an automobile, you seized all it signified. Sophia winces. Darling, it's merely a machine. Mother starts. It was 7 years of extra shifts and foregone breaks. It was grandfather's heritage. It was the single item I owned that confirmed all my concessions had purpose. My speech stays firm while something feral and injured churns in my core, and you seized it without hesitation. The entry bell chimes. Relief washes mother's features at the disruption until father reappears with Uncle Victor trailing. My father's senior sibling occupies the threshold with his wide frame and signature frown. What on earth were you considering, Samuel? Victor insists without introduction. His gaze locates mine through the chamber. Elena summoned me. Mother's back rigidifies. This is kin business, Victor, precisely why I'm present. He draws the seat next to me. Somebody must advocate for the kin member you're sacrificing. Father's features flush. Hold on a second. No, you hold. I grasp my portfolio by the seat. The material chills my tips as I remove the dossier I assembled yesterday. We must discuss forthcoming steps. I set 3 copies on the counter. Transport ownership, deceit laws, loan shop rules, and penalty directives. The documents settle with the force of explosives. This is a serious crime. I point the primary file. I could imprison you both. Mother's complexion pales. You couldn't, I prefer not to. The honesty astonishes me. Regardless of all, I don't wish to ruin them, but you must comprehend your actions. Father examines the documents, truly perceiving them. Incarceration. 3 to 6 years for ownership deceit. I maintain my speech objective separated, plus compensation. Mother dissolves into weeping, not the controlling sort she deploys to conclude disputes, but raw, harsh cries that convulse her frame. Father extends for her palm, his gaze shimmering. What have we inflicted on you? On us. For the initial occasion since this ordeal started, I detect authentic regret in his features. Not merely sorrow for exposure, but real awareness of the harm caused. Sophia removes her eyewear, showing crimson-bordered eyelids. This is my responsibility. Her speech breaks. I urged them. I realized you'd refuse. So I persuaded them it was brief, that you'd grasp once my venture flourished. She gazes at her groomed palms. I never imagined it would unravel so rapidly. Uncle Victor inclines a head. So what's the strategy? Since that loan shop won't delay indefinitely. 28 days, I verify. Then they sell the automobile. Mother wipes her eyelids. What options exist? I extract a computation device. We must evaluate our assets. For the subsequent 60 minutes, we review possibilities. Father believes they can secure a property credit line for $35,000, but it'll require 3 weeks to finalize. Sophia consents to trade her Audi and drain her reserves, which could produce another $15,000. I hesitantly pledge $7,000 from my crisis reserves. Uncle Victor observes this tally with squinted gaze. I can advance $6,000, he ultimately states, but solely because Elena shouldn't cover this disorder. The arithmetic is ruthless. Even combining all, we're facing 18 days prior to assembling the total sum, and the loan shop demands a prompt payment of $18,000 to stop the sale procedure. I'll contact tomorrow dawn. Father states, his speech more solid now. Check if they'll adjust the schedule. Upon departing, the pressure on my torso hasn't eased, but a change has occurred. The disloyalty lingers, but now a route exists demanding, unclear but apparent. Returning to my condo, I perch on the bed's edge, a mounted image in my grasp. My grandfather poses by a shining ebony Mustang, his limb encircling 13-year-old me. The seasonal glow reflects on the metallic edge and in his beaming gaze. Automobiles are merely alloy and shine, Elena child, he informed me formerly. It's their symbolism that counts. In the quiet of my condo, I at last grasp his intent. This struggle isn't solely about recovering my automobile. It's about claiming the honor I've merited. It's about instructing my kin that my visions count equally to Sophia's. I lift my device and call my folks' line. Father responds immediately. I'll assist, I inform him, my speech firm, but circumstances will forever alter. The hush extends among us, laden with all we can't reverse. I understand, he ultimately states. We'll correct this, Elena, I vow. I terminate the connection without farewell. Certain vows arrive too tardy for solace, but I'll prefer deeds over phrases anytime. Tomorrow, we commence the battle to restore what's mine, not merely an automobile, but my role in this kin. Sophia gazes at her image in the store's reflective surface, touching the fine fabric of her cherished Gucci wrap, her assortment once her boast now arranged over the desk for evaluation. The store proprietor examines each article via slim lenses, her mouth tightened in assessment. I can provide $9,000 for the batch, she declares, gaze fixed downward. Sophia gulps deeply. These articles exceeded $18,000 in cost, but the loan shop's limit overshadows her ego. Agreed, she murmurs, observing as the lady drafts the payment. Elsewhere in the city, father limps into the depot supervisor's workspace, joint pain igniting in his legs. Evening hours. The supervisor lifts his brows. Samuel, you haven't done evenings in 25 years. Father drops into the seat opposite, just briefly. Require the premium wage. The supervisor notes the darkness beneath father's eyelids. This concerning that automobile issue your sibling referenced? Father affirms once, mouth firm. Kin affairs. Beginning Tuesday then, he pushes the forms over. Trust it's justified. Domestically, mother encases grandmother's bronze lamps in wrapping, palms shaking. These articles endured the recession, observed 60 years of kin festivities. She arranges them gently in a container with the sapphire chain father presented on their 30th milestone. The lender at Harrison's scarcely views the objects before proposing $4,000 to handle next week's accrual. My personal concessions manifest in forfeited rest and omitted feasts. The Berlin growth requires ongoing oversight, but I'm accepting additional profiles, striving for the achievement reward that abruptly signifies the gap between salvation and disaster. The initial payment proof from Lakeside Loan rests on my workstation, evidence that our starting $18.00 deferred the sale. A minor success, emptied by the institution's recent notice, credit line endorsement postponed awaiting asset review. They're achieving real advancement, Olivia states amid delivery in my compartment. Your sibling contacted me. I glance from calculations, astonished. She contacted you. Sought if the economic firm was recruiting for beginner roles. Olivia swirls grains around her utensil. I was stunned. Subsequently that period, I noticed Sophia through the dining area, hardly identifiable in plain navy trousers and a pale collared shirt. No luxury brands, no bold accessories. She adjusts her stance anxiously beyond Bloomingdale's staff access, her debut shift. When my device sounds that evening, her speech appears tinier than ever. I lacked awareness of her phrases falter. 9 hours standing, grinning at folks who regard me as decor, and you've managed 80-hour stretches for decades. I rest against my cooking ledge, uncertain of response. All those occasions I labeled you dull for skipping outings, she proceeds. You weren't dull. You were accountable. 4 days afterward, we convene at the beverage spot midway between our condos. Sophia requests basic brew, rather than her typical elaborate mix. Her cosmetics is understated, her fingertips brief and plain. I was spoiled and egocentric, she declares outright. I'm truly remorseful, Alina, not merely for the automobile for all. I encircle my container with my palms, sensing the heat infuse my hands. Fine sentiments soft, I realize, she affirms, gaze firm. Deeds resonate stronger. I'm attempting to demonstrate now. At my folks' residence, father arranges institution records over the cooking counter, the stark ceiling illumination highlighting every crease on his features. He narrows at numbers that resist alignment, summing rows for the 6th occasion. Samuel, mother summons from the office. Were you aware of these? She clutches a pile of credit requests, all in Sophia's elegant writing. Charge accounts. Individual credits. 4 varied deferred payment plans. Almost $90,000, mother murmurs. We were clueless. The subsequent dawn, they position opposite Miss Summers at the Savings Association, the monetary consultant they've relied on for 25 years. This credit line will postpone your departure from work by no less than 6 years, she clarifies softly. And that's presuming no further monetary shocks. Mother examines her palms, union band slack on her slimmer digit. When I visit to deliver my share of this week's settlement, father greets me on the veranda stairs. For once, mother isn't lingering close with justifications. We disappointed you, he states, speech coarse with feeling, far prior to seizing your automobile. I settle next to him, the aged timber groaning under us. Through the years, we commended Sophia's visions while belittling yours. His rugged palms interlock. You seldom requested much, so we assumed you required little. The weekend twilight horizon glows amber as we rest and hush. Then the credit line ultimately processes, but with a 4-day handling span. Ease morphs to alarm when Lakeside Loan contacts. Another purchaser shows interest in the Mustang, proposing immediate funds. We merely need 3 more days. Father begs via the line. Commerce is commerce, the lender responds. Initial funds arriving secures the automobile. The following 48 hours merge into hectic computations and urgent contacts. Sophia clears her reserves. Mother trades her milestone ruby studs. I exhaust my crisis borrowing limit. Yet $4,000 deficient. It's insufficient, Mother states, tone empty as we assemble around the cooking counter. The limit is tomorrow midday. The entry bell chimes, and Uncle Victor appears on the veranda, payment ledger in grasp. Kin aids kin, he declares, mirroring Mother's phrases from days past, but with wholly distinct implication. The subsequent dawn, we cluster into the institution, observing the electronic timer advance to midday as the overseer handles the electronic trans.